Hi guys, well, I thought we'd have a quick look at this Fluval G6 that I managed to pick up on eBay for £100. As you know, these are still available and they're $350 new. I've never seen one come up on eBay over the last few weeks, and in fact I've been typing in Fluval G3 for most of my searches and just happened to type in G6 the other night about 1 in the morning, and this appeared, and it was on a bid, it was on an auction but with a buy now price, so I got straight in. I didn't want to risk losing that. So was it a good buy or not? Well, certainly it's a lot cheaper than a brand new one. I have had to buy a new marine filter. It's a 75 micron filter, and that was about, none of the parts for this are cheap. I think it was about £30. And that's it there. This has got a simple locking mechanism, unlock and literally pull the thing out. The marine filter is just this blue piece, and it clicks into place onto this priming top, and there's just a little red plastic piece that clips on the bottom. And as I say, 75 microns. I'm expecting to be cleaning this probably every week. There is a flow detector built into this, so there's a graph that shows you a diminishing sort of triangle shape as the flow reduces, so it should be pretty clear when this needs to be taken out and cleaned. I suspect having a second filter ready is going to be the solution to that, and just quickly swap them over and pop it back in. There's a cutout in the top here, so you can't mistake which way round it goes. One of the things you do have to be careful of is make sure there's no debris, any sand or bits, calcium build up on any part of this, otherwise it can be quite hard to reassemble and pop back into place. That's it. The other one is a cartridge that you can fill with your choice of media, and there's a little plastic push button there and one on the other side, and I'm just going to squeeze them and hopefully lift this lid off. There we go. And then inside this is the media holder. I've filled this with Tunzi charcoal, but you can fill it with a number of different medias, nitrate reducer, phosphate reducer, I expect. Whether you could put half and half, I don't know, but at the moment it's just filled with carbon. Again, you can't mistake which way round that goes. You'll see a little cutout notch here, and that and that lines up with that, so again you can't get that wrong. The same with this. You've got two arrows pointing here, and on the other side you've got one arrow, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see it. Whoops, where are we? There's one arrow here, and obviously the arrows on the other side. So in my case that goes like this, and that's it. Again, you've got the same cutout on the top, but it's obviously reversed, and you just slide that back in and push, click, shut it all down, pull the lever back down here, turn it on, and that will then start up. I'll just take these back out again so we can have a look at the rest. Now, one of the claims Fluval made was this material here that is sort of chrome plated would not corrode. and apparently this unit is a year and a half old, and there definitely is little bits of corrosion where the salt water has dried out, and in my case, it's it's barely visible. But to say that these were corrosion free is not entirely accurate, because there definitely is corrosion on them. I suspect if you were very fussy and got in there all the time cleaning and getting the salt off, it probably would have saved them from any corrosion. But as I say, it's not too bad. So to remove the lid, you've just got to undo these 4 levers fully, and there's 2 sort of handles the other side, and that just lifts straight off. I'm just going to shut this down again and put it onto the table just for a moment so you can see what's going on. If I bring this down now, there are 2 titanium electrodes here. Don't touch those, obviously, and this is to get the conductivity of the water. This also senses if it's in a marine situation, and will give you the salinity of the water. How accurate any of that is obviously yet to be seen. I'm trying to find the one that was corroded more than the others. You probably can't see it, but just in here, top of the picture, there's a little bit of corrosion that I can't clean off because the actual chrome plating or whatever they've used is has bubbled up a bit. But generally, it's not in bad condition. Now the actual rotor, the impeller rotor, where did I get that from, is just under here, and you've got a locking bit of plastic there that you just unlock and remove, and then if you can, because it's sort of magnetised in here, you can, no, I'm not going to be able to do it, it's typical, can't grab it. I think I've got something else to pull it out with. My fingers are a bit wet still. There we go. There we go. Now, that's the impeller. It's on a ceramic shaft there. I've cleaned this already, got rid of all of the muck from it, and the ceramic shaft is just literally held by these 2 rubber grommets. Under this one there's a couple of washers as well. What I've done is bought a spare impeller assembly, again not cheap, about 40 quid for that. I have noticed a couple of little marks on the impeller where probably something's got in there that shouldn't have done, although these filters are non-bypass filters. The water cannot get past if it doesn't flow through the filters, so quite how something has got into there just to you'll see it, just to mark the impeller, I don't know. Pretty sure it's not going to make too much difference in action, and the impeller runs quite smoothly on there. But I've ordered another one because if that fails, you're absolutely knackered. And I don't suppose these parts will be available forever. So I'm just going to pop that back in there. That's it. And then just the housing goes on top. Again, it lines up, it's quite clear how that goes. That's it, and just clicks into place there. So yeah, not very much of interest under there, just the impeller housing, titanium electrodes, and that is about that. I'm just going to move that out of the way for a second. Again, the lead on this is probably around about 5 foot, very low profile plug on there, nice thick cable, obviously much thicker than it needs to be. This G6, sorry about that, this G6 is only 28 watts, so it's really not using very much power. I'm just going to bring this up a fraction Alright, so what we've got in this one, this, as I say, this is the G6, so there are 3 media baskets. On the G3 there are only 2. Now this did come with all the what they call G nodes, porous ceramic pieces, but I'm going to get live rock to fill it up with. That's just the top piece. I did notice this bit obviously goes around the impeller, but if you look very closely you can see a little bit of the plastic. It's quite thin, this piece of plastic, just sort of a little bit bent out, and on the other side, which I've carefully, gently bent back in with my fingers. But again, I don't think it's going to make any difference to the overall operation. So that's that piece, obviously where the filters go, and then you have 3 of these media baskets. Quite deep, you can put quite a lot of material in there, but you do have to leave a gap at the top, and I can't remember what the instructions said, but I think it was about 1 centimetre. I also had to leave a 1 centimetre gap from the top of that carbon multimedia filter. So we've got 3 of these which are absolutely identical. I've given these a good clean and scrub up. Again, when you're assembling this, it's important not to have anything trapped underneath to stop these going together properly. So you've just got 3 that sit perfectly on top of each other. He says we've got it round the wrong way. That's it, so that's those 3, and then inside there you've really got nothing at all. I've given it a good clean out. I wasn't happy with some of the things that were stuck in the bottom. So yeah, I have, despite being told just to rinse it out under RO water, I just didn't think that was going to work. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to get out of here, so I've gone over it in tap water in the sink, given it a damn good scrub and clean, dried it out, and before it finally gets used, I'll be rinsing everything out in RO water and reassembling it. So yeah, this is double skinned. The only issue that you might have with this particular bit is that red silicone O-ring. Again, I have ordered an O-ring pack. Stupid money, about £43, and you get this red O-ring, a couple of O-rings that are used on the filter housings, and 2 more which I think are going to be on the hose inlet and outlet connection there. But again, it just seems, if anything goes wrong with this over the next months or years, if Fluval have given up on it. They spent millions apparently developing this filter, and I don't think sales were very good. 350 quid, is not cheap in anybody's book. Goes the wrong way around. Just going to pop those back in there. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to fire this up because I already have done very briefly just to check that it comes on. But the manual says that you should not run this empty, so I won't be until it's all installed and ready to go. So if I just reach over and pop the lid on there again. Yeah, obviously you've got to make sure those levers, let me just bring that up a bit. You've got to make sure those levers are fully out. And I think it's crucial not to force anything on this. This is a rather flimsy plastic lever up the top here. Sorry about that, it's not on screen. There we go, you can see that plastic lever. There is a small brake here. Let's bring this in. a small break on here where somebody's really forced this locking mechanism. What it's for is for the inlet and outlet, and you just lock those in place. Hang on, that's got to be that. That's how that's been broken. If you don't lift that lever up and you think that's in, you turn that and it snaps, it forces this to twist towards us, and that's how that's been broken. Well, that's a pretty naff design feature. Obviously that's an easy thing to forget, to push down with that lever up, and then, oh bloody hell, done it myself, hang on. Yeah, you see how easy that is? You know, I'm waffling on and making it even worse. So, to put it in, you've got to have that lever up, then you've got to push the lever down, and that makes the O-ring seals, and then bring that down to allow the flow to start if this was actually up and running. So considering how much work and effort they put into making this, you've got to say that's pants. That is an accident waiting to happen. Yeah, push that. I can see the good idea of making sure that's locked into the O-ring, and you know, it's making a good seal. But to have something break like that so easily, if you make a mistake, just seems really stupid. I'm sure plenty of people have snapped those over the years. In, down, pull. Another thing I've seen over on a number of videos of these, and I think I actually saw it in the shop. You'll see a little, what it looks like is a little wet patch, and it's because they've used the film over the top of the LCD display. There's probably multiple layers here, and if you're careful you can sort of press it and get it out. Excuse me. The good thing is, in practice, when this is actually lit, because it's got a blue backlight, it really doesn't make any difference to the operation of the unit. Now this is supposed to be very quiet, and you know, it's quite a pretty looking thing. The only issue I've got, I suppose, is this black is attracting every little piece of dust that's in the air. I'm sitting there trying to get it all off. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera or not, but yes, there's certainly going to be a lot of dusting going on here. And you do have to remember this flimsy plastic lever, because without that down you can't open up that. So there's a few things waiting to break for the unwary, I think, on this, and how somebody didn't break that when they were looking at the first prototype and realise that it's rubbish, I really don't know. So yeah, that's a quick look at that. Hopefully it's a fairly good buy. That is probably another issue. I just picked this up by the top, and the canister at the bottom, which is quite heavy, full of carbon, just fell off. So there obviously is some weakening of this plastic, you know, over the years. Although this is supposedly only a year and a half old, but that does actually pull off, you know, quite easily. Again, it doesn't matter so long as you know these things when you're buying second-hand stuff. As long as I know that's going to happen, it's not really not an issue. Well, that all works very well. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to put live rock in the 3 baskets. That's probably going to be the best bet. It's certainly what I've been recommended to do, and this coupled with the new skimmer hopefully will give us some good results over the coming months. So yeah, hope that was interesting. I think that probably is a good buy at 100 quid. Would I be happy if I'd spent 350 quid on this and You know, it's beginning to show signs of wear and corrosion a little bit on the levers after a year and a half. I don't know. Probably would have cleaned it more often than the person that owned this anyway, and it probably wouldn't have happened. But I think it's a nice looking unit. If you've got the money for one, why not? I certainly didn't want to have to fork out 350 quid on a new one, but £100 plus a little bit extra for some spares, that's fine. Hope that was useful, and I'll catch you later.